Please rise for the invocation by Reverend Dave Roberts, Morning Star First Baptist Church.
Amen. Let us pray. Most gracious and all-wise God, great creator of the great universe and heaven and earth, we come to you right now making an appeal that you be in the proceedings of this meeting, of this annual, monthly, regular city council hall meeting, Father God. And we ask right now that you bless these elected officials, Father God, the ones that we have voted in, these councilmen and women, Father God, that you touch them. For their job is often a thankless job. Their job is often a difficult job. But if you guide, lead, and direct their path, we can make decisions that will better benefit every citizen of this great city. And so we just ask right now that you saturate this place, that you fill it with the anointing of your presence, that whatever we do, whatever we deliberate upon, whatever we meet about, whatever we discuss, at the end of the day, all of your children will be considered. This is our prayer in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, we have two council members absent, Councilman Lael and Councilman Seaver. I'm not sure about Mr. Lael, but Mr. Seaver just posted at 5:30 on Facebook a picture of himself at Four Corners, New Mexico, which is the only place in the United States where 4 states come together at one point. It's interesting. Danny looked like he was having a ball. Road trip with his son. Hey guys, that's not bad, right? Special presentation by Mr. Jeff Neuville, Business Development Committee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, staff, and fellow citizens. I'm here to represent our city's Business Development Committee. One thing that we try to do is recognize businesses that have been in our town for 75 years and more, and tonight I'm pleased to recognize the Coca-Cola Bottling Company Consolidated. In 1910, 34 years before Coca-Cola became a registered trademark, the Coca-Cola Bottling Company Consolidated laid down its roots in Hickory. In 1937, the company built at their current location near downtown Hickory. From the beginning, the company has been a family business dedicated to its employees and community. The Coca-Cola Bottling Company Consolidated is a licensed bottler for the Coca-Cola Company based in Atlanta. The company is the exclusive bottler for a 6-county area and packages and distributes many beverages to over 11 states, or not over 11 states, actually 11 states. They're the largest independent bottler of Coca-Cola products. For 104 years, the business has flourished and provided jobs for Hickory residents. The company also strives to be involved with its community with a focus on maintaining a hometown touch. The result is a remarkable, loyal employee base with over 100 employees employed here in the Hickory area. The business helps communities in many ways. In addition to regular donations to local charities, employees help with the construction of the Zero Baker All Children's Playground, with more than 40 employees volunteering time during the construction, and the company also donating drinks for the opening. The employees have also painted houses in the community and regularly host coat and can drives. The company has a stewardship committee that focuses entirely on ways to reach out to the community. The Coca-Cola brand is ubiquitous in American culture, as American as apple pie, as American as an all-American city. We're proud that this iconic brand and company has called Hickory home for over 100 years. This evening, we're joined by Mark Brown, the Territory Sales Manager, and Mike Watson, District Sales Manager. I'd ask them to come down and join me. And I'd ask us all to please join me in thanking them for being part of our community as we give them our city's Business Well Crafted Award.
Just want to thank the Business Development Committee for honoring us tonight. Think about the experience of a Coca-Cola bottle, and a lot of folks in this room can probably think back years ago drinking that little iconic glass bottle and the experience that you had and the family that you were with, the community that you were in. And it's awesome to say that you work for probably, well, not probably, the most recognizable brand in the world, and not many people can say that. So we're excited to be a part of this. Thank you, Jeff, for this honor, and we appreciate y'all's allowing us to be a part of this community. We enjoy this community. It's actually a central hub for this area, and our home office is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we get the opportunity to show off this community on a lot of times with our vice presidents and presidents of the company. Actually, they'll be here on Thursday to show off this great community. So we're excited about that. So thank you again. Appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure there aren't many people here who can remember, like I can, buying those little bottles for 6 cents. And if you took the bottle back, you got a penny back. There was a lot of motivation for those kids to go out and find those Coca-Cola bottles. Okay, community groups. Mr. Scott Millar.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Pleasure to be before you again tonight. I was thinking through the number of times I've had the opportunity to ask you all for your money, and I hope you all have found it to be a good investment over time. Certainly, we've had some great successes here, and we're working diligently to try and keep those great successes going. I seem to be more and more in closed session with you guys, which seems to be pretty good news is out there in the offing. So I can assure you that we look forward to some good things continuing to happen here in the city of Hickory. One of the things that one of our recent efforts is to reprioritize existing industry services. Tonight I have with me Michael McNally, and I'm reintroducing Michael to you as our latest and greatest as far as existing industry services. And so many of you all remember Michael from his days with the chamber here. He ran off and ran the chamber in Burke County for 4 years or so. But we think he's got the perfect personality to come in and reprioritize our existing industry services. So he's been on board for 6 weeks, and we're already putting him to the test. So glad to have him back. Glad to have somebody come with me to these things, too. To go quickly over a few of the initiatives that we had over 2013, certainly we were prioritizing sites, parks, and buildings. And we're looking at speculative building opportunities. Sorry, I've got a cold tonight, so I'm not sounding exactly right. But we're reprioritizing the speculative buildings and trying to get those. Certainly, I'd like to meet with you all in the coming weeks to discuss any opportunities that might be suitable specifically for the city to work on speculative building opportunities, because we have to have something in the game, in the plan, in order to be able to fill those buildings as they hopefully go off the market in other places like Claremont. The lead opportunities that we're trying to prioritize this year are generally back to manufacturing Of course, everybody reads about reshoring and what's going on with new opportunities. We're seeing a number of new opportunities coming from overseas, and we've got in our budget a specific focus on a German representation for this year that we haven't had in previous budgets. And so we're trying to focus more specifically on countries that we think are going to provide some opportunities for us, and we've always had good success with German companies. Certainly the city of Hickory has its share of German companies that are here as well. It's been a few years since I've gone over the way the funding is spread out on for the EDC through the communities. The way that it was developed about 20 or 22 years ago was that the funding would almost correct if a large investment were to occur in a specific community, so that if, for example, an Apple lands in Maiden, then Maiden would pay a greater percentage of the cost. And so this year, it's interesting in that Hickory's percentage went up slightly, probably as a result of realizing some of the investments in the German companies that we've recently announced. So we're asking this year for $149,919, which is, I think, slightly higher, $8,500 higher than last year's, but it's primarily because of that percentage shift. I'll also mention that we've got in there as a pass-through for the marketing initiative, a lot of that is specific to the Greater Hickory Golf Classic project out there. So that is a separate and line item in the budget that simply passes through the EDC and does not go towards operational costs. With that, I've probably eaten up my 3 minutes, but I'd love to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? What's your total budget?
$655,000 roughly, of which $605,000 is the actual cost that we're splitting among the counties and the municipalities.
What is the rest of it?
It comes from fund balance. We're applying some fund balance. Some is from interest on savings. Other is industrial revenue bonds, partly Committee of 100, that sort of thing.
And 605, the county pays for how much?
52%, roughly.
They pay 52%. Our share then is about 24%?
Your 24% of the municipal share, I think, is the way that works out.
No, we're 24% of the total.
That's right. 26% of the total.
You try to pull one on us.
Yeah. Well,
I'm joking, Scott. I'm joking.
I didn't memorize the spreadsheet. I never argue with an accountant.
Well, I think I personally believe we get a bargain from EDC. I think you guys are doing what you can in tough times.
And I will promise you that it is not getting less competitive out there. There are communities that are really giving everything they have in order to get prospect activity to happen. And it's challenging sometimes, so thank you for recognizing.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. The Children's Advocacy and Protection Center, Deborah Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor Wright and City Council. As he said, I am Deborah Johnson, the Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy and Protection Center, and I'm also a Darkness to Light Stewards of Children facilitator. 1 in 10 children are sexually molested before the age of 18. Those numbers hold true in Catawba County, and as I indicated in my request, 25% of the children we serve at the Children's Advocacy and Protection Center are from the city of Hickory. We have asked for $10,000 that will purchase 1,000 books, and those books will be used to train the citizens of Hickory. They will not be used to train Newton Conover. They'll be used to train the city of Hickory. I see this as a win-win because you're investing in your community. I don't have the time to go into what it costs every time a child is molested, but I think you can put the numbers to the paper and know that $10,000 to train 1,000 adults is certainly a good investment. The reason Darkness to Light Stewards of Children work is twofold. One is it teaches adults, well, first it holds adults accountable, but it teaches adults clear strategies that they can use to limit, minimize the opportunities for offenders to have to molest children. And that is critical. It minimizes opportunities, it holds adults accountable, and I believe with my whole heart, because I am a facilitator, that it works. And I can look around the room, and I know there are folks in this room who have taken the training, and I would ask that at some point you be a testimony for how effective this training is. When we first launched our Prevent-a-thon, we predicted that the numbers would increase, and they have. And they've increased because I believe more adults are taking the responsibility of reporting and holding accountable those who would hurt our children, with the long-term goal, of course, of eliminating child sexual abuse. Lastly, I just want to commend the City of Hickory. 2 years ago, many of your staff took the training, but we need to train more. The more we train, the more we advocate, the more we can protect our children. Thank you for the opportunity to be a voice for children. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Habitat for Humanity, Mitzi Gellman.
Good evening, Mayor Wright, council members, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I'm glad to be in front of you again. I think this is my 18th or 19th year, so it's exciting. It's good to see David here as well, too. Glad you're part. One of the things I like to always start out with is kind of what Habitat does for the community before I begin thanking you for everything that the City of Hickory does for Habitat. But each year, our families are paying about $110,000 in taxes. Most of those taxes are paid in the city limits of Hickory. Probably 3/4 of our families choose to live in Hickory, and all of our subdivisions, at least the one that we're currently working in, which you're well aware of, the Green Park neighborhood, and also with a subdivision that we purchased a couple of years ago in Northstone is also in Hickory as well, and those will be homes for 22 families. Back to Green Park, we just finished our 4th and 5th home in Green Park. The families moved in about 3 weeks ago, I believe. Those homes, again, are still using a design from a local architect, Dallas Abbey, and we've created our design so that it's designed for families to be in their homes long term. They're designed for aging in place, and so you see different things that we've never done in the homes. We have wider hallways. We have a 5-foot turn radius in one of the bathrooms to accommodate wheelchairs. We have the same radius in the kitchen. So we're trying to think long term. And the interesting thing with that plan, actually, the houses are a little bit larger, but they're also cheaper. The math, I don't know. I need an accountant, but it's amazing. We're about $10,000 below where we were on our houses on Robinson Road. So, which is really critical at this time because our funding still is dramatically reduced from where it's been in our heyday of like 2008, 2009. We were able to build about 10 to 12 houses. This past year we finished 4, and we're doing a couple of renovations. Going forward, we hope to have at least 2 houses underway before probably May, June, if it ever stops raining or snowing or whatever it's doing, so we can get footings in. We have 2 partial house sponsors, one for a women's build that we're working on. We're holding an event in May that will also try to raise money for that. And we're partnering again with Thrivent Financial as well for a second home where we have partial sponsorship for that. I mentioned that we're working on 2 renovations now, but also one of the things we're looking at long term to give you kind of our bigger plan is that we're working through our strategic planning process on adapting more of a look at families served as opposed to houses built. And by families served, what that means is that we'll be looking more toward renovation projects, urgent repairs, critical repairs. Brush with kindness is one of the phrases that Habitat International will use, where we're talking about going into a neighborhood similar to what we've done in Ridgeview, where you do a little paint, a little fix-up, and then try to mold and create a better community overall and keep families in their homes. I think where I am. I was going to say, one of the other things that's been kind of a challenge for us this year that we've tried to adapt with, as well as things that you hear about in the national news that drill down and affect small nonprofits in Hickory. And one of them, the biggest change for us, was the Dodd-Frank bill. We'd always handled our mortgages in-house, kind of like a mom and pop's kind of mortgage company. That affected the way that we deal with our mortgages now, so we've had to outsource those at a considerable expense. But the other thing that's been kind of nice as well, to give you an idea of some of the things we do there behind the scenes, is that in a partnership with UNCC and with North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, we were able to weatherize and work on 60 homes at a cost around $10,000 per house. Most of those used local contractors, so it's money we're able to bring back into the community and funnel back out to repair the homes. So tonight our request is for $7,800, I believe, for sewer and water taps. It's comparable to what we've asked for the past couple of years. I'd like to see it back up again. We're asking for like $25,000, but I think other folks can use the money right now. And what's with our construction at the level it is, that's our request for tonight. Also, I think you will see at some point a loan request that we also request through CDBG funds. It's an ongoing loan that we usually have over the past several years, where it's loaned for the year, we pay it back at the end of June, and we're also using that money for renovation projects as well. So thank you for my, I think, 10 minutes, but I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions? Terrific. Thank you.
We're getting a pretty good return on investment there when you compare the amount we spend each year with the amount we're now collecting in taxes. And more importantly than the dollars is the lives that are changed by the Habitat program and the people who realize some lifetime dreams that might not otherwise ever have them. Hickory Downtown Development Association, Margaret Jackson.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Jackson, and I'm president of the Hickory Downtown Development Association. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the membership of HDDA, I would like to thank you for our partnership. Our mission statement was determined in 1995. We became a North Carolina Main Street community in 2006. For the past 5 consecutive years, we have received national accreditation for our standards of excellence from the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Our annual program of work is formulated around the shared vision created by the community in 2012. We are currently planning activities on the community's wish list in partnership with various city commissions, other nonprofit organizations, and private property owners. Downtown Hickory was recognized locally this year and statewide, as well as nationally for Oktoberfest. HDDA works through the 4-point approach of Main Street revitalization. The Design Committee reviews the physical environment with projects ranging from assisting property owners with building renovations to directional signage to sharing ideas about our inspiring spaces. The Business Development Committee saw a surge in business openings in 2013. Downtown experienced the opening of 25 new businesses, with 7 closing for a gain of 18 new businesses, creating a net gain of 116 new jobs. Downtown's occupancy level increased from 88% to 92%. Increasing tax revenues and bringing several vacant buildings back into service. Public and private investment exceeds $2.7 million. The Promotions Committee brought a wide range of socioeconomic demographics to downtown with our special events and festivals. The North Carolina Center for Nonprofits values a volunteer hour at $21.67. HDDA coordinated 1,812 volunteer hours, representing a contribution of nearly $40,000 to Hickory. We partnered with other organizations to bring new events to Union Square, such as the Western Piedmont Symphony and the return of Swingin' Under the Stars with the Memorial Day services. The downtown art crawls expanded to incorporate more artisans and craftspeople into our downtown businesses. The Candy Crawl added a new component this year of a costume contest for ages 12 and younger, which attracted hundreds of children and their parents downtown. A Hickory holiday brought families downtown to shop, see Santa, enjoy wagon rides, and listen to holiday music. These special events are made possible from revenues generated from our larger festivals. The 11th annual Hickory Hops was hosted downtown in April. North Carolina Tourism has named April as North Carolina Beer Month, and Hickory Hops is featured on the statewide beer trail. Attracting the young adult population, Hickory Hops had a 2013 economic impact of more than $330,000 for the metro area, according to Western Piedmont Council of Governments. Promoting tourism with our state and regional partners exposes more people to downtown and encourages young people to relocate to Hickory. The 28th annual Oktoberfest hosted nearly 150 vendors and 100,000 people downtown during the second weekend in October. Hickory's signature festival was ranked number 10 in the nation by Funtober.com this year. The charitable component of the festival, the Castle of Cans, collected 18,696 pounds of food, which was distributed to feed the hungry in Catawba County. The festival attracts families during the day and adults during date nights. Western Piedmont Council of Governments confirmed an economic impact of nearly $7.2 million for Hickory and the metro area in 2013. This year, we're proposing to host a new event downtown, an oyster and shrimp roast that we're tagging as the Downtown Hickory Shuck and Peel Party. The HDDA Board of Directors, members, staff, and volunteers work diligently each year to bring new activities to downtown, improve the ones we have, and promote the business and property owners of downtown Hickory, now and for future generations. On behalf of the Board of Directors and membership of Hickory Downtown Development Association, we respectfully request an annual allotment of $65,000 in fiscal year 2014-2015. The request has increased from previous years in our efforts to provide supplemental funding for the organization, to hire a part-time employee to assist with administrative responsibilities and promotional tasks, so that we may facilitate more economic development opportunities in the future. Our Executive Director, Connie Kincaid, or I, will be happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you, Ms. Kincaid. Hickory Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau, Ms. Bebe Leitch.
It's always a pleasure to come before you and request funding to market for this wonderful community. And I haven't been here as long as Scott Millar or Mitzi, but every year has been a pleasure. So thank you for allowing me to come here. Because of our strong partnership, we have built with the city staff, especially with Mandy Pitts, together we've been able to strengthen our community partnerships by enhancing the quality of life and supporting the role of economic development that plays in the Hickory Metro. Some of the groups that benefit from our partnerships include the Western Piedmont Symphony, the Hickory Crawdads, Hickory Motor Speedway, the Folk Art Festival, Pottery Festival, Greater Hickory Kia Classic, so many more other organizations, Science Center, bless you. We continue to promote Hickory as a furniture shopping destination. The CVB partnered with the City and the Economic Development Corporation on placing 4 billboard ads promoting the Hickory area that are located on I-40, I-77, Highway 321, and Highway 421. We've embraced the city's new logo and brand and are branding the Convention and Visitors Bureau as Visitors Well Treated and the Convention Center as Meetings Well Crafted. In 2013, our Visitor Center staff responded to more than 3,500 calls and worked with 1,700 visitors who requested information on relocation, shopping, hotels, and fun things to do while visiting the area. And here's a brief update on the Convention Center. 164 events were held in 2013, and that was an 18% increase over the previous year. Of those groups, 70 were corporate and governmental groups, 37 associations, 30 public events, 27 social, religious, and sporting events. 75% of our business is repeat business, like the Oasis Shriners who were here in October and had their parade downtown, which was fabulous this year, and I think the best they've ever had. They're going to come back again this October. The North Carolina Directors of Social Services have booked for 3 years in a row. They usually come back every other year, but they've had such a great experience. They're going to do it 3 years in a row and hopefully a little bit longer. AME Zion held their Western Regional Conference here last June and had such a good experience. They're bringing the Winston-Salem group, who is actually in charge of the event, and would have scheduled it at the Benton Convention Center, but they like Hickory so well they're coming back here. Hopefully they'll make us their permanent location as well. They booked over 900 rooms last year, and that's very significant for this community. So first-time associations that are coming this year. The Building Materials Suppliers Association were here a couple of weeks ago. Thank you, Mayor Wright, for welcoming them to the community. That was a first for the association to have a mayor actually come in and welcome them, so they were very grateful for that. I have a meeting with them next month. Hopefully they'll come back again and make this their permanent location. They've been in Greensboro and High Point area and for some reason have decided to relocate. The North Carolina Locksmith Association will hold their meeting here in the fall, and we got them just by fluke. Our safe at the convention center was not working, so we called a locksmith in Lenoir, and he came up, fixed the safe, and had never been in the convention center, so asked for a tour, called his president. They brought the executive committee back, and they're coming this fall, so I'm sure that'll be a great experience for them as well. And the American Public Works Association will be here also this year, and they have about 500 in the group. The sports and religious markets continue to grow, and the opportunities for this area and recruiting them are just very promising. Tourism generated an economic impact of $220 million in Catawba County. Catawba County ranks 16th in travel impact among North Carolina's 100 counties, and we have approximately 2,100 people employed in the tourism industry. State and local tax revenues from travel amounted to a little over $18 million. And which represents a tax savings of approximately $118 for each county resident. That's a pretty significant number. There's so many wonderful things happening in the Hickory area, and we are excited to be a part of the partnership with the city and many other groups as we see this community continue to improve. So thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Leitch.
Thank you.
Salt Block Foundation, Mr. Mark Sinclair. Well, that's not Mark.
You can have Mark if you want him, but he's semi-retired, so we try not to tire him out.
Actually, LT, we'd rather have you.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We've had him.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, good evening, and thank you for your service to the community. I'm LT Thompson, not Mark Sinclair, President-elect of the Salt Block Foundation Board of Directors. Our President, Marty Selman, sends her greetings and regrets she could not be here this evening. I hope I'll be a suitable replacement to her and Mark, and I won't stumble over too many of my words here. The mission of our organization, the Salt Block Foundation, is to pay for the cost of the physical facilities for the non-governmental organizations that live at the Salt Block. This includes the Catawba Science Center, the Hickory Museum of Art, Western Piedmont Symphony, Hickory Choral Society, and the United Arts Council. In all, there are 3 buildings that we maintain and pay the expenses for: the Arts and Sciences Center, the Aquarium Planetarium, and the West Wing. It's an expensive proposition. All of these buildings are old and getting older and require constant updating and maintenance above and beyond simple operating costs. However, the investment pays large dividends for the community. These salt block organizations are a major economic and cultural asset to our community, collectively serving more than 300,000 people per year, including students from every Hickory public school. And if you count the Patrick Beaver Memorial Library, which is also on the block, we collectively serve over 500,000 people annually. Since the opening of the Arts and Science Center in 1986, the city has been a wonderful partner in our work at the Salt Block. You help us in many ways, including providing security guards, ground maintenance, and capital replacement funds for the Salt Block buildings. The county has also been a wonderful partner over the past 28 years, providing much needed annual operating funds for the foundation. Due in no small part to this partnership between city and county and the ongoing contributions of both entities, the Salt Block Foundation has been able to weather the financial downturn of 2007 to 2009 and to emerge in stable financial condition. However, there are always challenges going forward. We will need continuing support from the city and the matching support from Catawba County to ensure that the Salt Block Foundation and its resident organizations remain strong in the long term. The bottom line is that the city's investment in the Salt Block is paying off, alongside the private donations that provide the bulk of funding. Your capital replacement funds are enabling us to keep the 3 buildings of the Salt Block healthy. It's an ongoing process and sometimes a struggle, but one that we believe will keep the Salt Block strong and attractive to hundreds of thousands of people each year and continue to be an asset to our entire community. All of us at the Salt Block Foundation, thank you for your wonderful ongoing support in this partnership and respectfully ask that you continue to support us during the coming year in the same amount that we asked for last year. If you have any questions at this point, I will be happy to address them.
Thank you, sir. United Arts Council, Mr. Alan Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, it's good to see you all again tonight. My name is Alan Jackson. I'm President-elect of the United Arts Council of Catawba County. First off, I'm just kind of curious, is this the first time we've had a mother-son combination during a presentation up here? I think that may be the first time, so glad to be following her up here. But I am here to thank you for your past support of the Arts Council and all the cultural organizations under our umbrella. And I want you to consider continuing that commitment that you've been so gracious in doing so far over these years in helping reach that $1 per capita in arts funding that we look to try to accomplish each year. Thanks to your generosity all the way since 1984, pretty close to when LT was just talking about the Salt Block and the Arts Center starting up there. Organizations that contribute to our quality of life and to the economic development in our community have been able to provide outstanding programming to this area. We believe the strength of our cultural organizations is a key part of the recruitment of new businesses and new professionals to our community. And I can say from a personal standpoint, when we have visitors, family, people visiting our offices, coming to this area, you know, everything going on at the Arts, United Arts Council, at the Salt Block, at the Community Theater, at all the other places, the Symphony, are all the places we bring people to, and they always walk away amazed at what we have in this area for the size community that we are. That's normally what they really end up talking about when they go back home. We believe that our active Arts Council that includes the Hickory Museum of Art, this is the Catawba Science Center, and its planetarium and aquarium, the Hickory Community Theater, the Western Piedmont Symphony, Hickory Choral Society, the Hickory Landmark Society, and the Hickory History Center all help set our city apart from other communities our size. As you consider our request, please remember the economic impact of the arts, and this is always the part I like talking about. The Arts Council subgrants your funds after matching them with state grassroots funds. And then we require organizations that receive grants to also match them dollar for dollar. So what that means is that every dollar that's granted to us through organizations like yourself translates to a minimum of $4 spent in our community. But the North Carolina Arts Council, statewide organization, actually estimates that number as high as $24 spent locally for every dollar granted to the arts. So it's an automatic return back into the community, back into the organization, which is what we're very, very proud of. We believe this is a powerful benefit for the long-term relationship between the City of Hickory and the United Arts Council. And normally, I think last year I may have given you a list of some of the different projects and grants that we funded this year, but we wanted to do something a little different this year. What we did is we conducted a survey to help us inform a little bit more about our future grant making. So we surveyed local government officials, donors, funded agencies, and the general public to help us understand what they saw as their priorities in this community when it came to the arts. And what we found is that nearly everybody had the same top priorities. Number one is support for the arts, science, and history education for all ages in our community. Two was the commitment to increasing and retaining audiences and donors. And third was the ability to attract audiences, generate tax revenue, and contribute to a vibrant creative economy, including cultural tourism. Now, additionally, local government responders also gave us one more priority that we're really focused on right now, offering programs for underserved audiences, such as those whose opportunities to experience events are limited by geography, ethnicity, economics, or disability. So it's kind of a response to that. Because of what the feedback we got from local government officials such as yourself, we plan to set aside a portion of our project pool dollars for innovative new projects that benefit underserved audiences exclusively. And in 2012 and 2013, our project operating and individual grants totaled $245,000. We hope that the total at the end of this fiscal year will be equally impressive. We believe this makes our city a more vibrant place to live and to work. Tonight, we ask that you consider our request of $40,010, which is $1 per capita. Since 1984, we've worked with you on cultural projects and on managing the Salt Block, where our wonderful city library is located. Together, we've become a model of local government and Arts Council partnerships. We thank you not only for your monetary support, but your continued message that our quality of life has the highest priority for you. Can I answer any questions on the United Arts Council tonight? Great. Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly an impressive list of organizations and the representatives here working to the benefit of all of our people. I know if I were an economic development person, I would hate to not have these kind of tools to refer to when people say, well, what makes Hickory different? And Hickory is different because of the contributions that have been made by so many people for so many years. We have requesting to be heard Mr. Larry Pope, who wants to speak on inspiring spaces and information on city employees.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Berry, and Mr. Crone. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be heard. After sitting back in the back and listening to all of the reports from the various groups who have spoken prior to my coming to the podium, I was almost at the point of changing my mind about what I wanted to talk about. But I think that what I am concerned about is equally as important as what others have spoken about. Even though the bubble has been enlarged and has been filled with wonderful things that are happening in our city, as usual, I have things that are not as positive as a citizen of this great city. Inspiring Spaces is a project that is being worked on, has been discussed, and there has been trips made by our city council and others looking at various locations and various things. This afternoon, I got off the public bus to go to the bank right before 5 o'clock. And as I walked down Union Square, I started thinking, it's very frustrating as a citizen who has had restrooms that were built with taxpayers' money on Union Square and is not open unless there are events going on downtown involving beer gardens, other events at different times of year. I hope, and I have asked in the past, that great consideration be given to reopening those restrooms, keeping them clean, keeping them available for citizens who might want to go to the restroom without going into an establishment and spending their money to eat or drink. I know that there have been problems, but I also know that there are ways to solve some of the problems that have existed in the past. When we spend an estimated $40,000 on inspiring spaces from Lenore Ryan College to 6th Street, Southwest, Northwest, to build a walking trail and other events, where are people that are going to use those trails as they visit the community, are going to have a place to go to powder their nose if their nose needs to be powdered?
3 minutes.
I know that there has been given consideration on the problems that those restrooms in the past experienced, but I say now is time for a change, and there can be a change. Under Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, Section 504, it is incumbent of this city to provide information that I am going to ask for, and I want to go into the minutes of this meeting as part of the agenda packet. I would like to have the name, the address, physical address of every city employee at Public Works, City Police Department, and any other employees employed by this city who travel our streets on a daily basis. The other thing that I am requesting is I want to know in writing, in the past 3 years, from tonight back 3 years, what workshops were provided to city employees, who were the names of those city employees that attended the workshops, and what those workshops were for, and who provided the workshops as the instructor during the period that the employees attended them. I've had a situation to happen that it makes it imperative that this information be given to me, and that I have an opportunity to look at the training of city employees, because I know that there are a lot of things as a citizen of this city with a disability that I run across on a daily, weekly basis, and I am told that no matter what is not safe, that the city has to be made aware of it, and they have X number of days to correct whatever the problem is. I said in response to that, what happens? Are you notified after an injury occurs to a citizen? Before the injury occurs, you have city employees that should be trained to recognize barriers that exist on our sidewalks. So I'm making a formal request under Title II of ADA for that information. Thank you so much.
Well, I would like to ask the staff to see what information that is requested, that Mr. Pope's requested is required to be presented to him under the Public Records Act. And to the extent that it's required, let's make it available to him. Does anyone else desire to speak? Motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of February the 4th?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Patton, second by Mr. Guess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That's unanimous. Motion to approve the minutes of the Inspiring Spaces meeting of January 31st.
Make a motion.
Second. Motion by Guest, second by Meisner. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That's unanimous. Motion to reaffirm and ratify on second reading.
So moved.
Where are the seconds tonight? I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion by Mrs. Patton. Oh, yeah, down New Mexico, yeah. Motion by Mrs. Patton, second by Wright. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That's unanimous. Anything to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to be approved.
Second.
Motion by Meisner, second by Guess. All in favor, please say aye.
It's my turn now.
All opposed, no. That's unanimous. We're out of control tonight.
The skeleton crew.
Are we down to informational item, Mr. Berry?
I believe so, Mr. Mayor. One informational item, and that is simply to make the community aware that the special meeting of City Council, which was scheduled and posted for February 11th, was canceled due to weather and has been rescheduled for Friday, February 28th, and that is information and agenda, et cetera, posted on the city's website.
This is the meeting in Charlotte, where we will, among other things, tour the Little Sugar Creek project that we understand is one that every city in the state would like to emulate if they could. First public hearing, Mr. Berry.
First public hearing, I'll
public hearing.
call on the city's Public Services Director, Mr. Chuck Hansen, to present a resolution which confirms the levy of assessments along 10th Avenue as part of the petition process for curb and gutter installation.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Mayor and members of council. Tonight's public hearing is basically following the procedures set out in the general statutes for our petition process. This particular petition was petition 0212, so it came around in calendar year 12. It was a 100% petition, 3 parties. The work has been completed. This public hearing is essentially to establish the assessment roll and essentially bill the properties. So the work's done. This is essentially following the general statute procedures for calling for a public hearing to establish the assessment roll. Any questions?
Do we have 100% signature?
Yeah, the petition when it was originally submitted was 100% signatures, 3 properties. Pretty short project, about 317 feet of curb and gutter.
But because it involves asking people for money, we've got to have a public hearing.
They petitioned us to build it.
Right.
And the procedure is, again, that was a public hearing at that time. In this case, this is a public hearing that basically we establish assessment roll, and then bill them. So, again, that's a pretty well-out general statute procedure that we follow here, and that's the reason for this public hearing. But in this case, 3 properties, 100% signature, work's been completed, and this is essentially the billing stage of the project.
Any questions, Mr. Hanson? I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anyone that would like to speak against this proposal. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this proposal? There being no one desiring to speak, I declare the public hearing closed and ask for motion or discussion.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Patton, second by Mr. Zagaroli. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That's unanimous.
Moving on to departmental reports. One departmental report this evening, and I'll go ahead and present this to council. What we want to discuss with council this evening is a proposed resolution in support of the Western Piedmont Council of Governments initiative to pursue federal designation for investing in manufacturing communities program. In basic terms, this is a program that's initiated out of the White House and out of the Federal Department of Commerce. The idea is that They want communities around the country who are heavy in manufacturing to apply, to go through an assessment process. They are going to select, I believe it's 12 regions or areas in the country out of all those that apply. And it's not a grant itself, but it's a designation. So it's a special designation that our region would, our MSA would receive, that would give us a leg up on applications for various funding sources, various programs at the federal level that are targeted toward enhancing manufacturing. So in a nutshell, that's what this is about. The deadline to have the application in is March 14th, so it's right around the corner. You might have read that yesterday at the County Commission meeting they adopted the resolution the County Commissioners did in support as well. Again, this is our MSA, so they're seeking support from the broader area. Some of the issues that we will look at in this application as well as in grant opportunities are related to workforce training, advanced research, infrastructure and site development, supply chain support, export promotion, and capital access. So the whole idea is to enhance and reinforce manufacturing that is already going on, to build upon that base to attract more opportunities. One of the things that you have to do as a community to qualify is you have to rank high in your manufacturing. And specifically, they've laid out that you need to be in the top third of various manufacturing categories. So no surprise to anybody, we are actually number 1 in furniture. We are number 5 in the nation in apparel. In prefabricated enclosures, we're number 11. In textiles, number 17. And in communications equipment, number 23. So all of those areas put us in the top third. So we feel like we're coming at this from the standpoint of many sectors and obviously very heavy in manufacturing overall. Part of the process, the Western Piedmont Council of Government engaged local furniture and textile CEOs. Had a roundtable discussion with them. You see some of the items that they identified that would be important for federal and local investment to take place to help them continue to flourish. Workforce development, not a lot of surprise there. There's a lot of discussion and effort around that in the Innovate Catawba and the Innovate Hickory program. Branding, helping the country and the world recognize that the Hickory area is a fantastic place for manufactured items. Regional manufacturing meetings where there's just communication, supplier network, excuse me. So the next steps from the City Council standpoint, or if you choose to do so, to adopt the resolution that's in your packet, which shows your support. Again, this is not a specific grant opportunity. It's a designation that puts us in good stead with the federal agencies to pursue grants in the future. In the information we've received on it, much of the investment that you are already making, whether those be incentives for companies that Mr. Millar and the EDC are bringing here, whether they're infrastructure investments that you're making to existing businesses or to new industrial sites as those opportunities come available, all of those things can be matching grants for federal dollars that you would have access to. So much of the investment that you're already making is already in your plans. The vacant building grant program, et cetera, all of those things we can marry up to already be matches to federal dollars that we might be able to draw down. It's going to be a very competitive process, obviously, but we feel like we have a good story to tell, and obviously we're a strong manufacturing area. It's not clear exactly when they will make the designation, when they'll make the award. They have not released that information. They've only given us the deadline of March 14th and indicated that they will select 12 communities. And Mr. Hansen's been a little closer to this than I've been, so if you got some detailed questions, he can answer them, but I'll be happy to answer any questions at this point.
What cities and counties do our application specifically include in our application?
Our metro.
Okay,
so you've got Catawba County, Burke County, Alexander, and Caldwell.
So 4 counties.
I have to think, compared to most any other place, we've lost a higher percentage of manufacturing jobs. The COG is leading the application process.
Right.
Will all of us get a chance to offer input to that and just make sure we provide the most competitive application we can?
Yeah, there's been a series of meetings, and there's I just got an email of another meeting that's scheduled the end of this week. In terms of the input, it's kind of a check-the-box application process, very data-driven. So that piece of it, the COG is very adept at. I don't know how much there's interest in the application or value in the application to storytelling itself, but certainly the number of jobs we've lost. There's actually a little formula that they run that indicates how heavy you are in manufacturing. Having those sectors where we're in the top third across the country, that will score well. So, but certainly any other thoughts or comments anybody would have on things we ought to include in the application are more than welcome.
Who else in North Carolina will apply? You know?
Don't know.
Will there be any politics involved in it? Charlotte Mecklenburg will apply?
I don't know who they are working with, what type of region they're working with. That's the only one that I know of. But I wouldn't be surprised if Greensboro is doing the same.
Will politics be involved?
I really don't know.
Well, if the COGS are Metrolina, it might take that out of it, maybe. I don't know.
You know, when you read the information, it's pretty sterile. It's a lot of data, it's a lot of facts, a lot of figures. Now, what happens when it goes into the big black box?
Right.
I don't know.
I would think that, I'm sorry for coming in without invitation, but
That's definitely the podium.
the fact that we are so high in each of those manufacturing areas has been suggested that we would make a strong application. So I think that we have a good chance of receiving this, particularly if we get everyone on board with the application. So it's I think, a good likelihood that we would be favored, so to speak. But there's no way exactly of knowing.
Okay.
Move we approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Meisner, second by Patton. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That's unanimous. Any appointments? Matters not on the agenda? General comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment that I think kudos go to our staff, Public Works, Chuck and Kevin and Steve, for the great job of snow removal. I have a secretary that lives in Lincolnton, and she got here today, was her first day. And so we, I heard through the weekend just kudos and kudos about the work we did. And y'all are really to be commended, and then please pass that along.
Thank you. I will. I'm sorry, I stayed out of the way.
It was amazing how quickly they got out there and started scraping roads and stuff that we were able to do, so it was phenomenal.
Well, and nobody in Catawba County was seriously hurt in any way. So we've got a lot to be thankful for. It was pretty for a couple, 36 hours,
Yeah.
and it's gone, almost. My wife says, she says when it lays around like this, it's just waiting for some others to join them.
I have a general comment. Around 9 years ago, some crazy person started a polar plunge for Special Olympics in our town. And this year, the Youth Council has gotten involved with the leadership, of course, of Andy Curley and David Leonetti. I think, Dave, you have agreed to jump this year. Is that true?
Andy is, I believe.
I heard you. Anyway, there's some youth council involved, and Dave and Andy are involved this year. I think Andy's going to wear some kind of costume or something. Anyway, I just want to remind everybody that's this Saturday, and it's for Special Olympics, North Carolina. Our police department has been hosting that for 9 years now.
What's the weather for?
Well, it's not going to be like last Saturday. If the water's good, it's cold.
How warm is it going to be?
It's supposed to be warm. Not the warm. So who's Dave's boss? I need to speak to everybody.
Okay. Any other general comment? Motion to go into closed session for the reasons stated in the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Patton, second by Deborah. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah.